covers his shoulder, and into the end zone. Touchdown, Chargers. Austin Eckler from 8 yards out with his 5th rushing score of the season.
Number 2.
Delayed hand up to Jacobs. Huge hole up the middle, 10. Cuts right side, 5. Touchdown, Jacobs. The hat trick in the end zone. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the day.
Number 1.
Burrow catches the shotgun snap. He's back to throw. He's going to throw it high and deep for Chase. Jamal has the ball. It is a touchdown as he knocks over the pylon and holds on to the ball. 3 drives, 3 touchdowns for Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Network as the playbook opens up. Another week of domination ensues. My name is Justin Fensterman. His name is Adam Ronis. For the next few hours, let's talk some sports. Let's win while talking about sports. Ronis, what's going on, my little Astro? How are you?
Doing well. Yes, congratulations to the Houston Astros who didn't lose a playoff game. I don't know if we can
actually hear Mr. Ronis just yet here. At least I can on my end. We got the resource AV Adam Bernard, and we also have the People's Board Op Jared Moore, 2 guys that still showed up for work, even though their Yankees got swept there. Man, we got you this time, my little Astro.
Yes, congratulations to the Astros. Phenomenal job by them, winning in a sweep over the Yankees, and have yet to lose a postseason game. So great job. Congratulations to the Astros. Tough season for the Yankees.
Yeah. Let me ask you, man, you listen to the broadcast?
As we say that, I just got an alert from DraftKings Sportsbook. Opt in to get an odds boost in the Phillies to win the World Series. Boost it to plus 250.
Ooh. Have you made a decision yet on who you think is going to win the series?
Look, I lean the Astros. They're phenomenal, but I am worried that the Phillies have this magical ride going for them. Bryce Harper is on fire right now. Schwarber, Hoskins. On paper, clearly the Astros are better, but man, I would pick the Astros, but I am scared that the Phillies just have this magical run in them.
Yeah, I mean, big time there with what we got in the World Series. Not what we thought, at least on the National League side, that it would be the Phillies going to the World Series out of all the teams that ended up qualifying for the playoffs. So excited to see what happens there. Let's talk, Roan, about what happened on Sunday, what's to come for Monday Night Football. Then we're going to get involved in a little NBA, 8 games on the docket for tonight. For those that play season-long fantasy, we won't talk too much about it unless I guess one of us makes a big trade in a league that we're in. But I've got your weekly player rankings at FantasyAlarm.com. Ronis does it for football. I do it for basketball. The rankings are out, and they have been updated a few times here as we're awaiting some of the injuries, especially from the Pelican side for the week. But it's looking like for now, maybe Zion plays. Brandon Ingram in the league's concussion protocol. Shocker, Pelicans injuries there. But Roan, something that's very unfortunate that happens, injuries when it comes to football. And right when things are going great for the Jets there en route to now being 5-2, they lose Breece Hall with a torn ACL, and they lose one of their best as well, Elijah Vera Tucker as well, both out for the rest of the season. Just brutal right there, and especially for those in fantasy where they were just getting the meat and the potatoes of what exactly Breece Hall can bring to their teams.
Yeah, absolutely sucks. You hate to see him go down. He 4 for 72 and a touchdown before getting hurt. I thought if we were doing a redraft today, he probably would have went in the first round. He was probably well on his way to winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's just terrible. He's been fun to watch. We were, taking his props, and we both kind of backed off it this week. And, well, at least for you with the rushing attempts, would have worked out. I don't remember what his rushing yards prop was. I don't know if it – so, I guess we caught a break there, but it just sucks. You hate injuries. You hate seeing players go down. We saw a ton of them yesterday, but Breece Hall's just brutal. And I have him in a 14-team league, so it really, really hurts because he was making up for my Najee Harris stupid pick in June. Good, like I said, only league I have him in, as I dug deeper and I said I don't want Najee Harris. So now I have to rely on him, which is not good in a 14-team league, but it really, really sucks to have one of the most exciting young running backs in the league go down.
Yeah, not fun. Not fun at all. And by the way, we're reading your comments as well in the chat. You want to hang out with us there, Jay Allen, our guest, New York Giants beat reporter here that we have here, recording via Tom Pelissaro. That's what he's saying, that Evan Neal also, and this was something that was concerning after the Giants game too, that he's going to be missing the next few weeks as well. But the Giants victorious once again, Roan. I mean, what is it, 11-3 between those two teams, the Giants and the Jets? Wild start to the year for them.
Yeah, I tweeted out yesterday. I said the Giants are 6-1, the Jets are 5-2, Seattle's in first place, and the Bucs and Packers are 3-4. Welcome to the 2022 NFL. A lot of this stuff doesn't make sense, and the Giants just keep winning, man. It's unbelievable. They were underdogs this week. I think a lot of people were on them. I think other people though were like, "Nah, I can't continue. Got to go with Jacksonville." So it's just been unbelievable for the Giants, man. Like I said from the beginning, they're very well coached, and with so much parity and bad teams in the league, it makes a difference. You could just see it, the confidence. They know what to do. They're not flustered by these late game situations where they're constantly trailing and coming from behind and making good decisions. I think you saw Jacksonville pass up on a field goal, go for it on fourth down. It didn't work out. And of course, the Giants took advantage, go down and score. So, and the ending to that game was crazy too. With Kirk being stopped at the 1 yard line as time expired. So it was just a wild game. And the Giants just, again, no one thought this right now. I thought they would be improved, but there's no one, even the most optimistic Giants fan, never thought they'd be 6-1 right now. And they are underdogs next week in Seattle by
Shocker.
3.
Shocker, right?
But I mean, basically, though, they tell you it's a pick'em game because Seattle gets the 3 for being at home. So, but Seattle's another team that's playing very well. So, that's the only game next week in which both teams have winning records.
Wow. That's really what we're looking at. By the way,
wait, no, that's wrong. Because don't the Patriots play the Jets? Oh, well, the Patriots are 3-3 going into tonight, but they will win, as we'll talk about later.
Yeah, well, great game tonight, by the way, Roan. How excited are you for Patriots Bears?
I do have a fantasy game on the line. Actually, a couple. I'm going against Jacoby Myers with, I think, 11 or 12-point lead. And then the other one is I am down 4.9 and down 12. It's a doubleheader, and I have Mooney. So
I'm down one. I'm up 113 to 93. And my opponent, who you know very well, guy by the name of Bob Harris, Fantasy Sports Hall of Famer there of football diehards, he has Jacoby Myers and Nick Folk, and I've got a 20-point lead. And this is a must win for me, man. Otherwise, my season is virtually over, and I'm playing just to not have as awful of an under 500 record. So this is something I need. Myers, we know about Jacoby Myers. We know that when he's on that field, man, he attracts those targets. So him alone makes me nervous, but having kickers well involved, that's going to be very, very close for me, Rome.
Yeah, it should be. Again, I know we'll talk about it more later, but I don't think people are expecting a lot of offense.
Yes. Essen, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. At least someone's rooting for me. Not many people do, but you're rooting for me, and I very much appreciate that. You mentioned Seattle, dude. Ken Walker looks good, man. Whoa. He is looking good. I mean, that was one of the props that I was able to hit. You and I actually both had props on him, and we are actually able to hit there. And you knew exactly what you were going into for Prop Wars. By the way, what about a round of applause for us, man? Look at us. You talk about the Giants and the Jets. What about us? 8-2 combined for Prop Wars. Both of us having 4-1 weeks. Very big right there. In fact, you end up hitting on the over for Ken Walker, 68.5 on the ground. I got the over on the 16.5 rush attempts there, which, look, I thought was a little bit higher. I mean, it ended up going up one more attempt before I placed the bet after I had originally looked at that bet. Road, other bets that you hit, Devontae Adams over 80.5 receiving yards, Tyreek Hill over 6.5 receptions, Dameon Pierce over 66.5 rush yards. The only one that you missed on the day, Chris Godwin over 61.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize the Bucs were going to suck again and not even get a touchdown against the Panthers. I mean, talk about one of the most stunning outcomes of the week. I'm sure it cost a lot of people in Survivor. I'm sure it cost a lot of people in parlays who probably took the Bucs money line. And then for them to not even score a touchdown is just pathetic. And yeah, I mean, Evans had that big drop early in the game, wide open. He wound up getting 15 targets. And here's the worst part, too. Godwin had 13 targets and still couldn't go over this, man. 7 for 43. So I knew the volume was going to be there. I didn't expect them to trail, but I figured Brady would throw a lot with the running game not really working that well. And against Carolina, who just traded away Christian McCaffrey, I mean, that was stunning. I thought that one was – I think that's the first one I gave out. So I thought it was one of the better ones, and it didn't work out.
No, but you still went 4-1. It's great. You now have 20 points. I go 4-1. The only one I missed was Josh Jacobs crushing on the ground, not as much in the air by about 5 yards. I missed his receiving yards prop in the over 16.5. I hit the Ken Walker one, like I mentioned. I hit Alan Lazard over 48.5 receiving yards. Then he left with the shoulder injury, so I'm glad I hit that before. Brian Robinson over 13.5 rush attempts, was able to hit that one. You weren't as confident when it came to that prop.
And if anyone watches Washington and differs from my opinion, I mean, Gibson looks way better than Robinson.
He does.
I mean, it's pretty clear. Gibson made a great catch in the back of the end zone on a reception. And, they got fortunate because they controlled this game. They were basically ahead the whole way. I remember giving out stats at one point, and it was like Washington over 200 yards and Green Bay had like 90. And in this game, Washington had the ball for 37 minutes. They ran 72 plays to 47. So, the game script went in your favor because he had 20 carries for 73, but Gibson was 10 for 59, and Gibson had 3 for 18, including that touchdown. I just think Gibson looks way better than Robinson right now.
Oh, and he does. He does. My whole thing with that was I thought that because he had just come back, it's not like he had been there from the start of the season. I thought that he maybe had a little bit of a leash before they'd start taking his usage away and taking his carries away. But I agree with you, man. Yeah, and this is what we've been waiting for with this guy, with Gibson. And hopefully they know to utilize him a little bit more in the dual way that you can now. How many times in the last few years in shows did we say, why the hell aren't they throwing to this guy who was a receiver in college? It made absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I know, man. I don't get it. And I don't know why they keep forcing the ball to Robinson. He just looks slow. Even 20 for 73, that's just not great. He broke off one long run, caught 2 passes for 13 yards. But, yeah, Washington just controlled this game. I mean, 72 plays to 47 is absurd. So it worked out. But I just thought maybe they would involve Gibson a little bit more. And, they did in a way, but I don't know how to judge it because they ran so many plays. They're not going to run Robinson out there for 85% of the snaps. And when you have 72 plays, which is more than average, they had to get Gibson involved a little bit. Just Green Bay couldn't sustain any offense. They couldn't stay on the field. Again, I just keep watching Gibson. I'm like, he just looks better. And again, that catch in the back of the end zone was great. And even look at the snaps, 35 for Robinson, 29 for Gibson, 12 for McKissick. So McKissick's kind of getting phased out a little bit here. Gibson ran 12 routes, 8 for Robinson. So, if this was a tighter game and Washington's offense couldn't control it, maybe he would go under, but the game script went heavily in your favor and it worked out.
Yeah. And here's the funny prop. The other prop that I got right, Matt Ryan over 34.5 pass attempts. That might be the final time you can ever bet that prop for Matt Ryan, Roan, at least for now. Matt Ryan moving forward, going to be riding the bench there. I mean, he's been around. If you forget sometimes, this guy's been around since 2008? It's a pretty long career.
Yeah, third overall pick of 2008. Yeah, I mean, look, it's been bad. I'm kind of surprised a little bit. They said even if he didn't have the shoulder injury, they were going to make the change, and they said Ellinger is going to start the rest of the year. They haven't helped him with the offensive line, but he's turning it over a ton. 9 interceptions on the season. He's fumbling the ball as well. He had 2 more interceptions yesterday, sacked 3 times. He's been sacked 24 times on the season. So it's just been, terrible. And the other thing is, though, they're probably going to pass a lot less now. 44, 58, 41 pass attempts the last 3 weeks. So I would think with Ellinger in there, they won't want to do that. So it's something to keep in mind because we're seeing Pittman and my guy Paris Campbell. That's right. Paris Campbell's alive, baby. 2 big weeks in a row, helping my best ball leagues. That's it, Paris. But yeah, he's getting a ton of targets, man. 10 receptions this week, 11 targets. The thing is, though, they're all on, like Pierce, Pittman, and Campbell are all played 62 snaps or more, and they all ran at least 46 routes. Pierce, though, got the one with the fewest targets with 4, but
we
Campbell
may have another team for scattered now in the hash out. I mean, how many times
we got to change the quarterback, though. I kind of want to see.
Yeah.
Again, my initial reaction is they're going to pass less.
Not good, especially hopefully the ceiling for Pittman. We're going to see where that goes there. But you're right. It's, you're starting to not know who's going to have the big week. Campbell now really in that mix. You've got, by the way, you got a healthy Taylor now too, and Hines. But you've got Pittman, you've got Pierce, and you've got Campbell. All three have had their isolated big weeks. So it's starting to become spread, but we're going to have to see about what happens with the target distribution moving forward there. So like I said, I go 4-1. Ronas goes 4-1. So he still has a 1-point lead. 20-19 is the current score of Prop Wars. It continues on Friday. Looking in the chat here, Jay Allen saying that Walker is a beast. He absolutely is a beast. And then our buddy Love Dips. How about this? Brady is a fraud. What do you think about that? Wow, Brady is a fraud. I'll say this, if anything, the guy has lost the ability to throw multiple touchdown passes.
Yeah, I mean, look, I did not draft him this year, and I had him in multiple leagues last year. I was just worried about the offensive line. I don't think it was talked about enough. And at some point, the age would creep in. And I'm not saying that's the issue. I mean, we're going to find out. But the comments, too, from Bowles after the game, I didn't like, oh, we're in a dark place, this and that. And they got a short week. They're playing Baltimore this week. But this offense is just a mess right now. You're still getting fantasy production from Evans and Godwin, but that's about it. Even Fournette. I mean, Fournette did nothing. 8 carries for 19 yards. We saw a lot of Rashard White in the game. Fournette only 2 catches for 7 yards. But, I mean, it's just you're not used to this. Like, this was a game where everyone expected Tampa, all right, they're going to rebound after losing to Pittsburgh. So it was just an insane performance that and I don't know if they can fix it. I mean, everyone wants to, because we keep saying the same thing about a lot of these teams, Green Bay, Tampa, they're going to turn it around. And we've just seen no signs that it's going to happen.
Right. You can't even be excited. You would normally think that a matchup like Baltimore this year would be maybe a get right spot for a quarterback who's struggling. You can't even, you're right. You can't even be excited about Brady going into that matchup. He's screwed up other good matchups too. Like you mentioned, Pittsburgh, great matchup for him. Double-digit spread on the game. Nope, they lose. Then you've got this Panthers game, and they barely do anything in that Panthers game. Double-digit spread. It just doesn't make any sense. Team in flux as well from a big-time asset being traded, and they still lose. And how about this, Roan? The Panthers running backs, though a little banged up, they got the job done against Tampa.
Yeah, that was surprising. I mean, I didn't see how you could feel confident starting either. And especially when you consider that the previous week against the Rams defense, which isn't as good as Tampa, Carolina got into the red zone one time, and that was with Christian McCaffrey. So I can't blame anyone if they didn't start Foreman or Hubbard. And Hubbard, they announced like before the game was going to start. He did get hurt with an ankle issue and left early. Foreman won playing 27 snaps, 23 for Hubbard. They both look pretty good. Look, I've liked Foreman. I thought, he was the preferred ad for me. I added him in a couple leagues where he was available when the news broke. I did not start him though. 15 carries for 118 yards. Did get one of those on a 60-yard run, and also had 2 catches for 27 yards. So, and Hubbard 9 for 63 with a touchdown and 2 catches for 10 yards. So, the logic was, well, it's going to be a committee and split backfield in an offense that isn't very good. So it made sense if you didn't put them in unless you were desperate, and didn't really work out.
No, not at all. We're going to talk about what players did work out, what players didn't work out when it came to Sunday. And we'll include what happened Thursday as well and get you ready for that amazing Monday Night Football game we have upcoming between the Patriots and the Bears. He's Adam Ronas. Give him a follow on Twitter at Adam Ronas. I'm Justin Fensterman. Give me a follow on Twitter at FenSty Sports. Let's talk about the good. We'll still take your comments as well in the chat. It is the playbook, your playbook to victory. It's powered by fantasyalarm.com and sponsored by Jock Market here on BSN.
Bettor Sports Live with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific.
We've talked about this. You're not into that to the dynasty thing.
I don't, dynasty is like a long-term relationship, and that just is really tough for me, Rick,
I understand.
It is such, and then when you say the two things that you say that probably scare me the most is a 14-team dynasty. Then I'm like, oh, this is a now complex relationship that requires a lot of my attention. Not
And a dog that you don't like and all of that stuff, right?
Lunch Money with Kyle and Ray. Weekdays at noon Eastern, presented by FantasyGuru.com.
I wish they'd get rid of instant replay. I think it's damaging to the sport. I just don't like it.
They will never get rid of instant replay on the broadcast. We demand it, and that's why. Remember, replay kind of rose out of the fact that people would sit at home and say, "Why can't they look at this? Why can't they see? I get to see the replay, and I know it's wrong. Why don't they get it?" So that said, okay, we'll have replay. Ray, we're never going to get rid of replay.
No.
Like you couldn't say, "Hey, the NFL will get rid of it, but we're not going to show it on broadcast." What if the NFL said, "We'll get rid of replay, but we will not show any instant replays at the stadium"? Would you be okay with, like, you'd still get them at home, and you could still yell at the TV, but the ref can't hear you there.
Right.
Like, I feel part of it is they have to have replay because the millions upon millions of people watching the game have replay. So, like, you can't not have replay when everybody else has it, but the guys making the decisions don't have it. Like, you gotta have replay. It's impossible.
It is impossible. It's just my dream. It doesn't help.
You get better dreams, Ray. That's not really like
it doesn't help. That's the thing. If we use replay and it creates as many questions as answers that it solves, what's the point of it?
Well, it's not going to change, Ray Flowers. You're going to be an old man still yelling at the replay cloud.
Bettor Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
Snapped Aaron Rodgers. Looks right, pumps left, rolls left, still looking, throws left side of the end zone, leaping grab end zone. It is a touchdown! Touchdown, Green Bay Packers. Aaron Jones with a sensational grab over Cam Curl.
Now Burrow throws toward the left sideline. Back shoulder throw. Chase makes the catch. Cuts into the middle of the field.
Bye-bye.
And the chase of Chase is unsuccessful. A 41-yard touchdown. The Bengals' fourth TD in 4 first-half drives.
1st and 10, toss to Walker, goes right side, has a little running room. Parkinson out front. Here comes up the sideline. He's on the run, 40, down to the 30. They're going to catch him. I don't think so. 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Seahawks, 74 yards.
Call, chat, enter contests in real time. It's Sports Talk 3.0 with Bettor Sports Network.
Seahawks, Packers, Bengals radio networks on the call there because you're hearing from the good Ken Walker, Aaron Jones. Look what happens, Roan, when you throw to Aaron Jones a lot. Good things happen there. I mean, were you expecting going in that the Packers would eventually figure this out and throw to this guy a little bit more because he had a lot of success in the air?
Well, you can't say figure things out in the Packers offense at the same time. It still was a bad performance. I mean, he only had 8 carries for 23 yards, but at least they did target him 10 times and 9 for 53 and 2 touchdowns. And once again, A.J. Dillon is non-existent. I mean, you can't start this guy at this point. 4 carries, 15 yards. I mean, it just doesn't look good at all. I've been saying Aaron Jones is the better player, but yeah, it's a mess. Alan Lazard now has a shoulder injury, and they said they don't know if he's going to miss time or not, but not a good sign there. He was banged up going into the year. So Romeo Doubs making mistakes, pissing Aaron Rodgers off. It's a problem right now. I mean, Doubs had 4 targets, no receptions.
0. Big fat 0 right there for Romeo Doubs. Oh, bro, I've been hearing it. I've been hearing it on Twitter all day long. Let me ask you, when people ask, do you answer a lot of questions on Twitter, would you say?
A decent amount.
So do you ever then get people who will respond later in the day to your answer and be like, thanks a lot for Dobbs. Great performance. You ever get that?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I just kind of ignore it.
Why are people?
Because my favorite response to all that stuff is when they do. I go, if it was so obvious, why did you need to ask me?
Right. My favorite I don't respond like this, but what I kind of think about, and I've said this on shows before, is more why, then why do you ask me questions then? Go to another analyst. Go.
Well, it's not that, because they'll do the same thing with another analyst. It's
right.
like if the answer is so obvious and you're going to question it after you see the results, then you shouldn't have asked me, right? You know what I mean? Because you knew it, right? So why are you asking me? We're going to get stuff wrong. Everyone is, and especially this year. To me, this year is the most puzzling and most difficult fantasy football season I've ever endured, without a question. There's just so many things that don't make sense, or a lot of weird things happening. I mean, again, the Carolina backfield yesterday is the perfect situation. Who would have thought both guys were viable yesterday?
Nope.
When the Panthers offense has sucked all year long, even with McCaffrey, they weren't good. As I said, they had one trip in the red zone against the Rams in week 6, first drive. They didn't make it back there. And you would think that it was going to be better with McCaffrey gone. A lot of things don't make sense.
No, they don't make sense. And some people are like, man, this just kind of sucks. But then you got the others that are like, thanks a lot for ruining my weekend. Go ask another analyst then. You think I care?
I think, at least for me, or the people that have followed me a long time, I think they see the track record, and I guess I'm helping them more often than not. So maybe they don't get as frustrated. If it's someone new and, you get a couple wrong early, then they're not going to feel the same, because they'll be like, oh, damn, I asked this guy twice. Both times he was way off. You know what I mean? So then they're going to get frustrated.
Any of them either. The best thing to do there in this situation, you avoid confrontation. The more you comment on it, the more it appears in the feed. You want it to just fade into the abyss. No one wants to get stuff wrong. We're going to get stuff wrong. And we're going to talk about what we get wrong. And we're going to talk about some of the stupidity in some of the decisions where we're giving ourselves eye rolls, because this is fantasy football. This is fantasy sports. This is wagering, where we're talking about lines where these books are incredible. We don't know who's on the take. We don't know how they come up with the lines, but we're going to lose at times. We just want to win more than we lose. That's the goal for any analyst, and that's the goal for any of you out there that play in multiple leagues, right, Ron? You're just looking for you want more than the 51%, but we give so many predictions here. 51%'s fine.
No, it's actually not.
I know you don't like that. I know you don't.
It's not.
It's being right more than how we give hundreds of predictions every month. We're going to be right on every little thing we say.
No, but I want to be better than 51%.
I know we want to. But being above 500 when you're making a ton of predictions, it's not like you're playing 16 games. We're not making 16, 17 predictions a year, and that's it. We're making 17,000 predictions every year. And for those that are very nice about it and say thank you afterwards and appreciate seeing in the comments, we really do appreciate it. But for all those that just want to be haters, figure it out yourself then. Yeah, answer your own questions. You could be I've never, and Ronus is never the person that says this. He says he's competitive. Neither one of us are like, we're the number 1, number 2 fantasy analysts. No, we're not. That's not how we operate. That's not how we roll. We just want to be good at what we do, and we want to understand it. And just like all of you, we want to win. Right, Ron? You want to win.
Definitely.
1,000%. So that's what we do. We're taking your comments still in the comments section here. What's going on? Billy Hayes. How about that? 70%, nothing less. Thanks a lot, Billy Hayes, for that. And Jay Allen coming to the defense, hitting bets 70 to 75% the entire year right there. Not easy to do, Rome. Not easy to do.
But I will say this. I went 3-0 on my NBA player props on pickswise.com on Friday. So check that out every Friday. Plus 2.6 units. Let's go.
Do you tweet though when you go on the rare days?
Yeah.
Did I say this?
I tweeted the article.
Well, no. What I'm saying is, do you tweet if you ever go 0-3? Do you tweet?
Yeah. I don't no, I'll say it's usually, I don't know if I had an 0-3 night last year. I definitely had 1 and 2 nights. So yeah.
And you'll tweet that with the little X through and not just the cash money bags and stuff like that.
Yes.
As long as
and the record is on the site. I mean, in fact, Pickswise has a document. They keep track of everyone's picks. Any picks on that site. So that one's going to be every Friday. But, I'm going to give out on this show. I got 4 bets I already placed tonight. The juice probably moved because I bet those this morning. So I'm sure the numbers moved a little bit. And I don't know. Maybe I'll start putting videos out.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe videos there. Not even on his OnlyFans too.
That's
Wow,
right. I just need to
rising
start I'm
content.
gonna start my own site. I'm leaving.
Yes. Wow. Look at that. This guy's he's turning it up a notch here. Hey, can you hire me?
Nah, we got to see. We
Okay.
got to see.
Wow. All right. I will apply. Billy,
What, you think? What kind of budget am I starting with here? You work $1 an hour?
Wow. I don't think that's minimum wage these days, Rome. So
yeah, but this is not official.
That's true. That's true. And
It's
Billy,
it's
you're
off the
absolutely
books.
right. Adam does hold himself accountable. You're absolutely right about that. I know that you've been hanging around with the Road Man for a long
Yeah,
time.
Billy's in the GST league this year and killing it, man. I got to go to him for advice. Jeez.
One time, Billy, years ago, I remember I was producing a show, and he sent a video of him in a Buzz Lightyear. I believe it was him. Sent a video in a Buzz Lightyear costume to me, Kyle Elfrich, Ray Flowers, Kay Adams, and it was awesome. And I'm just like, wow, this guy's got stones here to do that, because we were talking about it was themed some way, and I believe it was him, sent us the video back in 2010. It was awesome themed video right there. See what happens when you participate. We make you famous here. Let's talk about some injuries, Rowan. One of our favorite tight ends. We don't know when or if we're going to be able to see him again. Daniel Bellinger's going in for eye surgery, man. I'm wondering what that's going to mean moving forward when he's back there, because from him, I almost wonder if he's going to have the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar treatment, extra eyewear.
I did not think that's who you were referring to when you said one of our favorite tight ends.
Who would you think I was referring to?
David Njoku.
Yeah, that's the other favorite tight end that we have.
I don't think Bellinger would be up there. I mean, really? I mean, I added him in a league for a bye week fill-in.
Yes, I'm not being serious, but we bring him up a lot because
you didn't sound sarcastic when you said it.
Well, then you know what? That's good. Then I'm doing a good job. I'm learning.
No, you're not. Okay. But anyway, yeah, I mean, who knows at this point? I mean, how long he's going to miss. So I think you just cut him.
Yeah, and then when it comes to, David Njoku, at this point, could be missing some time. That's just another tight end situation that I'm going to have to figure out. I've got one league where I'm about to be on my fourth tight end, Rome, because of that, and poor play from others like Cole Kmet and Logan Thomas along the way.
Yeah, the report is 2 to 5 weeks, high ankle sprain. I believe Cleveland has a bye in week 9, so you'll probably miss him this week, and I guess you hope that he can return in week 10. But if it is high ankle, it's kind of tricky there. So, they do have a bye in week 9, so he'll sit this week for sure, and then you have to hope that you get him back in week 10. And it's a big loss because he's been one of the more reliable tight ends that you got in the double-digit rounds or picked up off the waiver wire early in the season.
Right, and now get a high ankle sprain, 2 to 5 weeks. I would lean more on the side of 5 with that. Takes longer to heal high ankle sprains. So I'm not a doctor, but I've experienced my fair share of low ankle sprains versus mid-foot sprains versus high ankle sprains. And the high ankle sprains take a little bit longer to heal up. From what we're seeing, according to Coach Carroll, DK Metcalf, knee injury there, but he will not need surgery, at least from the reports that I saw. And then there's this one, Roan. I'm on Ross St. Brown. Thoughts that maybe he suffered a concussion, but because of the very sensitive protocol the NFL runs by, we're going to be seeing this more. The reports are out that apparently he could have even come back in and not have a concussion, but due to the new rules, it's just going to rule the player out for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it was real weird. Something about the body reaction or something. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to be really cautious. So, a very strange situation because they said he did not have a concussion. So, they're going to be extremely cautious with these guys. We all know that after what happened with Tua, if anyone has any inkling of concussion symptoms, they're probably going to sit the whole game. And I understand the player safety, but at the same time, if a guy is good to go, should be back in the game. I know it's a touchy situation and you want to make sure that these guys are fine, especially when it comes to head injuries. But I don't know, just a weird situation with St. Brown yesterday.
Yeah, 1,000%. It's going to happen more, and we're just going to have to deal with it, especially this year until they maybe figure things out further. What was your reaction when we got the news that Pacheco was going to be the starter going into the game? I mean, do your expectations and after what you saw, does it make you kind of a little bit more confused with the KC backfield, or do you think moving forward we're going to be seeing actually more Pacheco instead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire getting the carries?
I think we're going to see a split. I mean, I told someone in our Discord that asked me, I said, look, just because Pacheco's starting doesn't mean he's going to get all the touches. So I did start him in my home league. But again, I had bye week issues and everything. But yeah, just because the guy starts doesn't mean that's it. He's on the field the entire game. I was hoping he would get a little bit more than he did. But the snaps were McKinnon 28, Pacheco 19, CEH 7. So I still think it's based on what they have right now. It's going to be a similar. It's like a 3-way split, which is not good for fantasy. So, I mean, you hold him, but he's not a must start every week at this point. And, I think a few of those carries came late too. He had 8 for 43, CH 6 for 32, McKinnon 2 for 12, McKinnon 2 for 36 in the passing game, CH 1 target, no catches, and Pacheco wasn't even targeted in the passing game.
Other injuries that suffered, the Chargers go from one receiver getting hurt to another receiver getting hurt. Now Mike Williams is dealing with a high ankle sprain, so he's probably looking in that 2 to 5 week return.
Yeah, they already said he's going to miss weeks. So not good.
They have a bye though coming up
by this week. So, but yeah, just another unfortunate injury. And then Keenan Allen did play. And look, if you played Keenan Allen, I can't blame you, man. I don't know why they just didn't sit Keenan Allen. Because they have a bye next week. So that's why. See, everyone likes to look at the results and go, "Oh, I told you. Why'd you start Keenan Allen?" Sometimes you just have to read what the team is telling you. And if the team decides to start Keenan Allen or play him, saying he's active, he's going to play. They did say he would be on a pitch count. So, but I've seen that before with Keenan Allen. He went out and performed. So if the team is like, yeah, he's active, he's going to play, and they have a bye the following week, that would lead you to believe, again, if you're just going by common sense and logic, okay, he should play a good amount of snaps, maybe in the red zone near the goal line. He could score a touchdown. He played 23 snaps, ran 14 routes, was targeted twice. I don't think he played in the second half either.
He didn't.
Yeah.
Not at all. And he wanted to rest, Ronis. He wanted to rest. I can't blame.
But again, if he really felt that way, he would have sat out, told the team, just don't put me out there. So he had to eventually agree that he wanted to go out there because he was there. If he really said, hey, you know what, I want to sit another week, they would have said, okay. I don't think they would have forced him. So once he's active, if you didn't have better alternatives and you played him, I don't think you made a mistake, because if the Chargers were that concerned, why didn't they just say, you know what, don't even play. We have the bye next week. Take the extra week off. And they didn't do that. So I can't blame anyone who played him.
Yeah, I played him in a league. No, and I did not think it was going to be too big of an issue. I thought I would still be able to rely on him for those reasons. And the fact that I just complained that he had told reporters, yeah, it makes sense for me to sit, get the extra week of rest with the bye coming up, doesn't make sense.
See, there's no, and we go through this, and there'll be examples where it worked out and it didn't. There's never an obvious answer. It's easy to sit here and today, oh, I shouldn't have started him. So stupid. But there are other instances when a guy goes out there and has a big game. So there's no easy answer. To me, you just have to use your common sense and logic. And in this one, yes, they did say he would be on a pitch count, but you figure, okay, it's Seattle. It's a bad defense. They should have a lot of scoring opportunities. All I need him to do is catch 4 passes and maybe find the end zone if they use him near the goal line. And especially with the bye week coming up, if it was that bad, they would have sat him, in my opinion.
Seeing reports coming out there, Schefter, Rappaport reporting that J.C. Jackson, the Chargers, his season is done. Season-ending knee injury that he suffered. So another Chargers injury, Roan. So that's a pretty big one for LA right there.
I mean, they have a ton of injuries. It happens every year. It's the same
story. Didn't he get benched a few weeks ago? I thought that they benched him for some reason a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, he wasn't playing as well as he was in the past.
Yeah, so he, at this point, like we said with Mike Williams, high ankle sprain, J.C. Jackson's season is over. He's Adam Ronis. I'm Justin Fensterman. Let's continue talking about the good from Sunday, week 7. Then we'll get to the bad. Then we'll preview this amazing Monday Night Football game. And I already can't wait. Ron has teased it before. Excellent tease about his bets for basketball tonight. We'll talk about some of the matchups too and who's in, who's out when it comes to lineups before we send you off to Rick Kamla for Bettor Sports Live. It's the Playbook with Fence D and Ron is powered by FantasyAlarm.com and sponsored by Jock Market here on Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis. Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern on Bettor Sports Network.
There was a tweet about the refs that had me kind of cracking up the other day because somebody was like, we have the technology to track the ball down to a centimeter and figure out, what speed these guys are running on the field. Yet somehow we still mark the ball by
That's my favorite.
a 60-year-old dude eyeballing it, and then we run over with literal chains and measure it. It's like, you think we can probably get that figured out.
The least precise way to measure something, and then immediately following that up with a super precise way of measuring something.
Yeah, it's like we have
like if you're a millimeter short of that chain that they bring out there, that they ran out it as best they could in a straight line. But if you first they just go here, and then they grab the chains and they run in the straightest line possible. But then if you are 1 millimeter short with that football, doesn't count. Sorry. Couldn't have been human error. You're just short.
That's exactly. And, they bring out the index card or whatever. Meanwhile, they have satellites in space tracking how fast Brandon Ayuk ran on an end around. But we can't.
and I can see that number live while he's doing it. Like I can see every player's speed on the screen live.
I love that. It's and not to mention that dude's trying to make the spot, and the player always tosses the ball right into his face. Right? He's coming over to spot it, and it's every other time the player just here you go. Here's another thing to juggle.
On call with Dr. Roto.
If the Giants don't win another game this year, A, I'll be shocked. But B, I'll still think that they're better than they were with Joe Judge. Much better. Because I think Brian Dable's got a lot out of this team already. And I'm seeing what this team could be. See, that's the problem with owners and general managers. I see Nathaniel Hackett and I see a guy who can't get it done. I see Matt Rule and see a guy who never should have been hired. Disaster right away. Sometimes a good coordinator in the NFL is better. I don't even say sometimes. Most of the time, a good coordinator in the NFL is better than a college coach because the NFL coordinators, they know the system. They've been there. They've played. They've been around it. For the life of me, I don't know why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job yet. Deuce Staley's going to get a job. Somebody's going to hire that dude. When you've been around the game, you understand it. These college guys come, they don't know it.
Join the show with one touch of a button. It's Sports Talk 3.0 on Bettor Sports Network.
Walker in the gun, Foreman off his left tip, 2 receivers to the left, 2 stacked to the right. One of them is the tight end Trimble. Walker the snap, fires downfield. Tommy Tremble's open, makes the catch, touchdown, Panthers!
Here's Garoppolo, pick it up on 3rd down. Jimmy back, Jimmy going to throw for the end zone. George Kittle took it away. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Kittle down the middle, baby.
2nd down and goal at the 1.5. Play action fake. Prescott's going to throw it in the end zone to Peyton Henderson on National Tight End Day for his first professional touchdown.
Bettor Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
Why have a National Tight End Day when maybe the most frustrating position in fantasy football this year has been the tight end position? Who wants to celebrate Tight End Day? And by the way, Tight End Day, you know what happened? Mark Andrews failed on National Tight End Day. That's what happens. You have the one of the few reliable tight ends there. Doesn't even get it done on tight end days. So for those that want their tight end narratives, you can. I'm just not going to say it. I'm not going to go there, Ron. I'm just going to say this position absolutely sucks.
Well, Kyle Pitts showed up. He had 3 catches for 9 yards. 9 yards. By the way, real quick, funny, we were just talking about Keenan Allen. Daniel Popper, who covers them, just tweeted out, Brandon Staley said there was no setback with Keenan Allen's hamstring. Allen did not play in the second half because he did not feel like he could burst off the leg, and they did not want to risk further injury.
But he's saying there was no setback.
Right.
Okay, so that's wrong then. There clearly was a setback then. That's why he didn't play. Because there had to have been. He made a turn some point in the first half. Probably not going to admit it. This is all probably so they don't have to admit that they made the wrong decision and they should have rested the guy through the bye.
Yeah, I think they definitely should have, especially if there was any question. And that's the risk with these hamstring injuries. It can be tough. That's why, Damian Harris playing tonight. Remember that initial report? He's out multiple weeks. Like, kind of weird, but I guess it depends on the grade of the hamstring. I guess others are more severe than others, but again, it's one of those things, and athletes will tell you it was some athlete that said the other day that they kind of never go away. So we'll see.
Yeah, here's the interesting thing when it came to that. It's the Damian Harris thing. That report came out. He kept practicing according to subsequent reports that came out after.
But it's the Patriots too. You can never trust them.
Right. And that's
they still never even said, a report came out. Obviously it's been every day. Like they're like, yeah, Mac Jones probably going to play. And then I think one said that he's going to start tonight. But like, even for most of the week, we weren't sure. I just had him in the rankings all week thinking he would play, but Patriots are very quiet on injuries. So you kind of have to read between the lines with things.
Yeah, and I guess one of the reports I saw in the last day or two that he was taken for. Do you put any stock into that when you see things cross the wire, like they're taking first team reps at practice? Do you read into that fully, or do you just kind of put that off to the side?
Depends on
Mac Jones taking first team reps at practice on Saturday. Let's just say.
Yeah, that would mean he's probably going to start. So, right. Yeah, that's a big deal.
So that I saw on Saturday here. Then I don't know why since then we haven't seen much else regarding Mac Jones tonight. So
because they don't say anything.
No, they don't say anything. We'll talk a little
Belichick had to spend all the time praising the Bears and how good all their players are.
He always does that, though.
I know, but with the Bears, it's comical. How do you do that with a straight face?
No, you don't. You don't. Oh, I get it. That Darnell Mooney, that Fields, he's a player. Let me tell you, Justin Fields. That game's going to stink tonight, Ron. I'm so glad we have NBA, so I don't have to put – obviously I'm going to be watching it, but that's not the only thing I have to focus on tonight there. I'm not going to be falling asleep watching NBA.
Oh, and you also have the Yankees game. Oh, wait, my bad. I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah, they're done. They got swept, right? Is that what happened?
I think so, yeah, 4-0.
Nice. Yes, I know. It's like it's all everybody who loves the Yankees saying this is their year. Now they're fire Cashman. Fire this person. Fire them all right there, Roan, because they haven't won a World Series since 2009.
Yeah, 5 straight losses in the ALCS.
Wow. Hey, can you be mad at the GM about that, though? They're in the semifinals every year.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though. The expectations there are very high. You expect, for them to not win a World Series in this long, they spend a lot of money. It's New York. I can't. You're going to start having those expectations as a Mets fan. I know it's still, in the infancy process, but with Cohen as the owner and he's willing to spend and do whatever, you're going to start seeing that with your Mets fans. You're going to have those expectations.
You think they end up keeping DeGrom?
I don't know. I'm hearing some things that he might not want to be here, that he might want to change the scenery.
Interesting.
But, here's the problem with that. It's not going to be the money because the Mets are going to be able to pay him whatever he wants. So if he does leave, he better not say, oh, they didn't offer me what I want. Tell the truth. You didn't want to be here. It's fine. If you want to change the scenery, go ahead. But don't lie about it because the Mets are going to, get the money. Yankees were in a weaker league. The American League was way weaker. For real, it was. The National League had 3 100-win teams. And the Phillies were supposed to be good before the year. A lot of people were on the Phillies. Bryce Harper missed a good portion of the year. Castellanos was out. Wheeler had injuries. Phillies are a solid team. I think they have some weaknesses defensively in the bullpen, but they got hot.
I'm impressed that they've done all this after firing their manager.
I know, it's amazing, man. It just sucks. And Bryce Harper is one of the best players in baseball. I mean, a lot of times people crap on him, but that guy's a stud, man.
Well, because they crap on him because of his attitude in the past. That's why.
Yeah, and I guess he got compared to Trout, but I don't care what anyone says. Harper's ridiculous, and you can't get him out in this postseason. I mean, that was as clutch home run as you will see. I don't know why they didn't bring in Josh Hader, but that's another story. I would have brought in Hader there, lefty on lefty. Come on, man. Like, what were you saving Hader for? Your season's on the line. You're going to let Suarez face him as hot as Harper is? And maybe Harper homers off Hader, but you got to bring in Hader there.
Again, Phillies and the Astros in the World Series did not think.
I mean, the Astros are definitely not a surprise. All season long, I thought they were coming out of the AL, but the Phillies are definitely a surprise. But that's the thing, man. You're going to see this more in the future in baseball, man. These 5-6 seeds you get in, and again, the Phillies have two really good pitchers with Wheeler and Nola, and they have a really good lineup.
And you don't like that. You don't like the expanded playoffs or anything.
I don't know, because again, you got an 87 win team in the World Series, and I know it's happened in the past, but now you're opening the door for it to happen more. You had 3 100 win teams in the NL, and none of them reached the NLCS. It's insane, man.
Yeah, it is. I just feel like even back, maybe you don't remember their record. That Cardinals team.
I think they had 86 wins, I believe, or 83.
I mean, so
you're talking about the 2006 team?
Yeah, so it happened back then.
I think actually it was 83, but they won the division, didn't they?
I thought they were the wild card.
No, I think they won the division. I mean, and that's the other thing is you're going to have weak divisions. Again, I know they won't do it. I'm all for it, even eliminating that. And just you want to go with best records.
I'm fine with that. I never liked that division winners would, I don't know if they've changed rules in different sports, but division winners automatically getting the top 3 seed, impacting home court advantage. I never liked that either because of the weaknesses of some divisions.
Like, okay, if I had my way, we'd have 4 teams make the playoffs this year. Let's just go by records. You'd have Dodgers 1, Braves 2, Mets 3, and Cardinals 4. Cardinals play the Dodgers, Mets play the Braves. Best of 7 each series. Let's go. But they're never going to do that, though, because of TV.
Right. So it used to be in let's go back to 1993. And I know we did this a little bit the other day, but 1993, when it was just, I believe back then, 2 divisions and just 2 teams got in, right? That's it. It was just the NLCS, ALCS, and then the World Series.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
It doesn't. You're wasting your time even saying that. They're never going to do that again.
No, of course not.
Even what I say with 4 teams, they'll never do because they want more TV money. But to me, that's the way it should be done. You should have 4 teams in each league. Otherwise, why are we playing 162 games? What's the point?
Yeah.
No. And I know people are going to be like, well, you had your chance to win, but you're basically condensing your season into a 3 or 5 game series where we know with baseball, any team could beat any team. The A's could, as bad as they were this year, they had stretches where they were good.
I mean,
Billy's saying if Phillies get 200 if Harper played all season. You could say that with a bunch of teams. Every team had injuries. So do the Mets get 108 if DeGrom pitched the first half of the year? So you can't sit there and do that with every day.
No.
You just can't. Every team had injuries.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of injuries here, with the Chargers now dealing with Mike Williams' injury, I mean, moving forward, when talking about the reliability of certain players, I know that they're on bye, but then coming back, I mean, they have Atlanta, San Fran, KC. What do you think of Gerald Everett's prospects moving forward for at least the next few matchups once the Chargers return from their bye?
Yeah, him, Josh Palmer will have to play a bigger role again because Williams is definitely out. Even if Keenan Allen's back, you'll see Palmer. But yeah, this is another offense, too, that has been really disappointing as well. The Chargers I think they lack a deep threat. And because if you look at the attempts for Herbert, there's not anything downfield, man. It's just a lot of short throws. And
where's Travis Benjamin at? They need to get him back on the squad. Wasn't he there for years?
Yeah. But they don't have it now. They don't have that deep threat. I mean, that's why they keep throwing at Eckler. 12 targets, 12 catches, 96 yards. And again, remember I mentioned I was looking at his rushing prop. I'm like, nah, I can't do it, even against Seattle, because they don't run much. He had 9 carries, 31 yards. So I guess should have looked at the total yardage for Eckler. But
yeah, I don't think it was out yet when we.
That's right. It wasn't when we were doing the show, but I should have looked at it after. But
yeah, I wanted those for a few. Actually, for the players that ended up doing well with Jacobs, Ken Walker, Eckler. I wanted to.
Eckler has 53 catches in 7 games.
Damn.
It's absurd, man. Just insane. 53 in 7 games as a running back. And now 8 total touchdowns after not scoring the first 3 weeks. So
I don't think Marcus Mariota has thrown the ball 53 times this year.
Definitely not. I mean, that's another joke, man. How do you not throw the ball when you're trailing the entire game? It's just, I don't
He's
get
thrown
it.
fewer than 20 passes in 3 of his last 4 games. He is the new Justin.
They were down 14-0 after the first quarter and 28-17 at the half. They did not score in the second half. He 8 of 13. How is that possible? That's 8 of 13 in a game that you were down 35-17 in the third quarter. 29 rush attempts, 13 pass attempts, and you wonder why Kyle Pitts and Drake London can't do anything?
No, I don't wonder. That makes it pretty obvious right there. If Drake London's getting the one target and that's it. The guy. I wrote this here because I wrote a little something at Fantasy Alarm about Drake London. He had 13 receptions in the first 2 games combined. Since then, he's had 13 receptions combined.
Yeah, it's insane. And what you would say, well, they're winning games, they're doing well. I mean, they're 3-4, but they're right there in the division. I mean, that's what's absurd with this NFC South. Like, I think right now, if you were betting, you would probably still take the Bucks by process of elimination because Atlanta really doesn't seem to be going for it. And with the way they're playing, Carolina clearly has told you, yep, we're done this year, 2-5. Maybe the Saints still have some hope if they can get healthy. But the Bucks are in first place at 3-4, and all these teams in the division are negative point differential. The Bucks are actually even at 0, but it's insane. So this is crazy. There's only 5 teams in the NFC with a positive point differential. That is just insane.
You said it, man.
You want to guess the 5 teams? I mean, it's pretty easy, I think.
So the 5 teams will have to be what are 4 of them in the NFC East?
Close.
3 of them then. Okay. So then let's go with the 3 NFC East teams that are obviously there, and the Eagles, Giants, and the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 2 would probably have to be 49ers.
Yes, plus 12, barely after yesterday.
All right. And then the other one would probably have to be, wow, I'm blanking out on this one right now. Is it an obvious one that I'm missing?
Yeah.
Oh, is it Seattle?
No, our producer got it right. Minnesota.
Wow.
Plus 21.
Vikings.
Yeah, Seattle's -3.
Dang, they were close. So
and this is crazy. Say, like, I know the season doesn't end today, but say it did, you'd have Tampa and Seattle getting home games over the Giants and Cowboys. How's that right?
Ridiculous. That's not right. It shouldn't be right.
Well, actually, no, because it wouldn't, because 2, 3, 4 would get the home games. 5, 6, 7 are on the road. So yeah. Well, no, Philly would be 1, Minnesota 2, Seattle 3, Tampa 4, Giants 5, Dallas 6. But obviously, it's still early. But yeah, that's not right, man. They need to change that stuff. Like, so if you're in a weak division, you get rewarded. Like, I know we've done it all the time, but why we change playoff structure? Why can't we change that?
I think division titles in general are stupid. I think they're awful. I don't think they mean anything.
No, they don't.
They really don't. Like, for instance, when people would say to me, the Mets, they won the division in 2006. Who gives a damn? Seriously, who cares? You want a little pennant in your room that your team won the division that year? Oh, they won the division, and then they got smacked around in the NLCS. Great season you just had. They're stupid. We glorify it. Teams have banners parading that they won the division and then did jack after that. It makes absolutely no sense. And I think getting rid of if you want to have division winners get an automatic playoff berth, fine. But then take it away so that it's not them in the home field, home court advantage. At least do that. That's a start right there. If the winner of the NFC South has to be the bottom seed and they're on the road, so be it. They're still clinching.
Yeah, I think you shouldn't be guaranteed a home game. Like, if the Bucks win this division at like 8 and 9, sorry, you don't get a home game.
Right, and then there are those stories like that Seattle team. You know, the one with Marshawn Lynch, right? Weren't they 3 games under 500 or something like that when they made the playoffs, and then they beat the Saints.
Weren't they 7-9, if I'm not mistaken?
Something like that. Yeah. Well, man, AB Adam Bernard, he is on it. As soon as I mention a historical game,
7-9.
Boom. Yes, the Beast Quake game. Yes, that's the one where they thought Lynch was down, and then he used his hand to propel himself forward and keep running. It's those examples are fun. The invention of the 12th man from that game, it's fun, but it shouldn't be the way. These under 500 teams, like you're saying, Roan, shouldn't be rewarded. It's in a way kind of like we talk about with fantasy, why you don't do divisions in fantasy sports. And if you do divisions, hit us up in that comment section and please try to justify it. Because outside of it being a GST like 30-team league where you're splitting into 2 conferences,
but that's not even a good example. That's not divisions.
Okay. So it's 2 conferences though.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with anything.
It is 2 different leagues. It's 2 different leagues.
2 leagues of 12,
right.
But we play for an overall championship in addition to the playoffs. So you have your own championship in your league, and then all the teams that make the playoffs, your weeks 1 through 15, your average score, you take that, and then 1 through 14, and then weeks 15, 16, 17, you take your score, add it to your average. Whoever has the most at the end of week 17 also gets the overall championship.
I don't know why you have winners when you're doing an overall championship. What's the point?
What do you mean?
You have.
What do you mean? What's the point? So because you're playing in. It's like high stakes leagues. That's what high stakes leagues do. You can win your own league, and then you play for the overall prize. We're just doing it with, not 24 because I changed it because before I came in as commissioner, they had everyone compete for the overall, and I'm like, this is dumb. I don't care because and it happened. I think it was the last year we did it. Someone who wasn't in the playoffs got hot, won the overall championship. I'm like, come on, man, we can't do this. Can't have a team that doesn't make the playoffs winning 4 figures. So I finally got them to change it. Only the playoff teams qualify for the overall championship.
I guess if you have a final, and a final, an ultimate final, I just don't understand how you could would you celebrate winning the title if you didn't win the overall?
Yeah, because I win money. I mean, if you win your league, it's actually more than the overall championship.
Oh, that's weird. Why?
How's it weird?
Because the overall championship is the grand champion. That should get the top prize, no?
Again, that's in the high stakes leagues, they do it because you're playing with thousands. We're only doing 12 teams for the overall championship.
It's not like I'm asking stupid questions here. You have an overall championship, and I don't know why we're celebrating semifinal victories. At least that's
not
for me.
You don't. I guess you're not understanding this concept.
No, I'm understanding it. You have 2 separate.
Let me put it to you this way so you understand. Say there was 2 Sirius XM host league. You win one of the leagues, I win one.
Yep.
And there's overall championship. Neither of us are guaranteed to win the overall. It could be a team that finished 2nd or 3rd.
That's what I didn't understand.
Right.
So explain it to me. You can't blame me for not understanding that. It's a unique format, all right?
No,
and I'm not in it.
That's how the high stakes leagues operate.
I understand that.
But they do it on a much bigger scale.
I understand.
Because there's thousands of people or hundreds.
Right. And I understand that. It's just I don't think a lot of us are in high stakes
leagues. Because we decided to model this after the high stakes leagues on a lower scale. So because I've won the title twice, I've never won the overall championship yet. Because for some reason, I think I came close one year. I finished 2nd or 3rd. But for some reason, when I get into playoff weeks, my teams don't put up as much points as they did in the regular season. But,
that happened to you in industry leagues before, too.
Last year was the first year I did not profit in the GST league because I think I lost in the first round of the playoffs. And right now I'm struggling. I mean, I won this week. I'm 3-4. But I'm going to have to probably get in on points. I'm right there. But this week was a rough week. No Cooper Kupp. Dak didn't have a big game. So I'm hoping with Cooper Kupp back next week and hopefully Dak getting better. I have Travis Etienne, who obviously looks good now. But yeah, I definitely don't have the best team in the league. But I think, and that's advice for everyone else too. There's a lot of people right now. You might feel like, hey, I don't have a great team. It doesn't matter, man. There's a lot of teams that are going to start falling. I mean, imagine a team that had Breece Hall and was feeling great. Well, now they got a big void to fill. Mike Williams is going to miss time. DK Metcalf, I'm sure, is going to miss time. The teams with Lamar Jackson are feeling great. He's had 4 down weeks. Trust me, I know. So as bleak as it looks for you now, all you need to do is get into the playoffs. That is your only goal. Get in And you never know what could happen. Go back and look last year at those playoff weeks. Some guys came out of nowhere that you picked up off waivers and helped you. It will happen again. So, yes, there are teams going to, after this week, are sitting at 3-4, 2-5. It is not over. Just figure out a way to get in, especially in these leagues where 6 teams get in out of 12. All you need to do is get in the playoffs, and things can change because there'll be guys coming off waivers that can lead you to a championship. So just don't get discouraged. I know there are some teams that look great, but you can easily turn this around.
Yes, and by the way, for those that have defenses, team defenses, don't just be like, okay, that's a spot. Try to actually turn that into something. Chase crappy teams. You can do that. You can stream on the wire. Not the top 10 defenses aren't going to be available to you. But if you got a defense that's going up against a really horrible offense there and you see a proven track record, don't just be like, okay, my team's got to buy.
The Jets were available on waivers in some leagues this week. I picked them up. I picked up Miami. They weren't great. Tennessee was a good one who came through going against the Colts. So, and especially with guys on buys, I doubt anyone dropped Buffalo last week, but just check because they were on buy. I would think. I know I have Philadelphia in a couple leagues. I didn't drop them. I don't like to hold 2 defenses, but I was not dropping Philly's defense with the way they're playing in that schedule. Wasn't going to do it.
If you have a top 3, you take the fall for the week, and you laugh at yourself for having the 2 defenses, and then you just drop it. We talked about this, Ron. Cam Akers. I ended up having to drop Cam Akers in our host league, so he's available if you want him now, Ron. So have at it if you want on waivers for $1.
We'll see if he gets traded. I would think that I don't know. Again, I just don't see how anyone is going to give up much for him. And I just think, you're seeing it now again with James Robinson and Akers coming off these Achilles. It's not easy.
No, it's definitely not easy. By the way, Elijah Moore, which was the other confusion, apparently he's going to be back in the mix with the Jets. There's going to be no trade there. It's funny.
Well, Corey Davis is hurt now.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what happens there with him.
Oh, real quick, here some DK Metcalf news. Bob Condado, who covers them, said Pete Carroll says in his afternoon Zoom session with media that DK Metcalf will not need surgery, but says he can't say when Metcalf will be able to play next. They're going to wait and see how treatment goes with his knee and how he responds. My guess is he doesn't play this week. Giants catch another break. This team just has everything going for it right now, the Giants. I might just put money on them to win a Super Bowl. Everything's breaking their way.
You know what I didn't realize, though, when I was looking up the numbers before? They've let up a lot on the ground. I didn't think they did, and then I went back and looked. They just haven't let up a lot of touchdowns to running backs on the ground. But the last 2 weeks now, Drake and then Etienne. Etienne destroyed them, man.
You're right about that. And if he didn't fumble as he was approaching like the goal line, I mean, not at the goal line, but like the 5, and he got stripped, that could have been an even bigger game. So I'm just glad Etienne's getting
the 3rd most rushing yards to running backs, the Giants.
It doesn't matter, man. This team is blessed right now. Certain teams, like everything is going their way, man. It's amazing.
I'll say this, though. Ken Walker props for Prop Wars. Oof. One of us is going to be in on that. I'll tell you that.
That's going to be my first play probably. Oh, and I didn't go back to my man Nick Chubb, and they dropped his line to 16.5, and he went over it. Damn it.
That's your fault.
You know what? It's a lesson, man. And, I think this happens to us. Like, you're on a prop, it keeps hitting, and the first time it fails, you're like, I can't go back. Especially if the data says it, should have just went back to it, man, especially Nick Chubb. So that was my fault, man.
It's okay.
Got gun shy.
Listen, just don't let it happen again, okay? We need correct
won't.
props here, all right? You can't screw up like that. He's Adam Ronis. I'm Justin Fensterman. This is the Playbook powered by FantasyAlarm.com, sponsored by Jock Market. You hear me mention Jock Market a lot. Well, I'll tell you this. When it comes to Jock Market, combining stocks with fantasy players and NFL and athletes, and it's great in multiple sports. I mean, what you do is you go in, you could buy shares of players. So Ronis and I, for instance, last week we were both in on Ken Walker props. So if we were on Jock Market, we would have bought shares on Ken Walker in a great matchup there, and especially moving forward in this matchup against the Giants here. That is going to be great when we find out what the stock price is going to be. However, you buy your shares at the fixed price. Someone can buy the shares from right under you. So you don't just buy the shares and then wait for all the action. This is a business. And just like the stock market, always account for variable change. Someone buys your shares and then, hey, you might have to spend more real money to buy them back. That's what happens. Money never sleeps. I believe that's what Gordon Gekko said in one of the Wall Street movies. He's Ronis on Fence D. Let's talk about more of the bad. And then speaking of bad, preview this game coming up here between the Bears and the Patriots. We'll talk props. We'll see if we have any final news on Mac Jones. And then going to talk some basketball with you. 8 games on the slate. Let's do it here on the Playbook on Bettor Sports Network.
Bettor Sports Network. It's sports talk done better. Front Yard Fantasy, weekday mornings at 7 Eastern.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just banning the porn bots real quick.
Whenever the porn bots, I will say, dude, whenever the porn bots show up, it means we're doing something good. It means that we're showing up. So, you know, they wouldn't find us if we weren't, if the live stream wasn't good. So, you know what? We welcome you here. Tinder-hot-.xyz-basketball adult dating site. One of our biggest fans.
I detach all of my self-worth to how many porn bots come into our show in the morning. If we don't get any porn bots, I go the rest of the day thinking, like, what did I do wrong? Why didn't Tinder-xyz.com want to hang out with me this morning?
Yeah. People ask, how's the show? I'm like, not that good.
No
porn bots showed up.
Moose and Keith, weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern.
Because I never asked you this. When Noah was growing up, when did Noah first where you got a sense that this is what my son wanted to do?
I was really busy during his formative years. I didn't meet Noah till he was about 19.
Nice.
So,
your wife did a good job.
Yeah, you may want to talk to my wife. I would say about he started showing a legitimate interest. He started getting curious about how I prepared, what it required, and then I saw a little bit of a shift, 14, 15, where he was concentrating on the on-cameras, the interaction between play-by-play and analyst, and started probably taking mental notes at that point of the performance aspect of, okay, you do all this prep, but you got to go out and deliver it. So, yeah, probably that 14, 15 range, I thought to myself, this could be something he really wants to do.
Bettor Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better.
Goff with play action back to throw. Deep ball down the left side. Intercepted. It is Diggs at the 15. Up and running to the 18-yard line. And did he pick a good time for that?
Empty backfield on 2nd and 13. Ryan gets rid of it quickly. It's intercepted. 30, 40, 50. Adams 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. End zone. Touchdown. Titans, Andrew Adams.
Talk about your picks, your fantasy teams, and your sports collectibles on Bettor Sports Network.
Heard the Trevon Diggs highlight from the Cowboys radio network there. Ron, are you a Diggs guy as a Cowboy fan?
Yeah, I mean, he gets beat sometimes because he's very aggressive. But, yeah, man, and it was funny, too, because when we were doing the show yesterday, I was like, yeah, Cowboys kind of need a defensive turnover here right now. And immediately it happened.
Boom. There you go. Did you do your usual, like, let's just say Corey's talking, he's talking, boom, the turnover happened, and then did you just take over?
I don't do it as much anymore. I'm trying, but it's hard, man. I'm a passionate, emotional fan, man, watching this. And
I work with the elements you provide, man. When we do
especially if I'm making bets and everything, or it's my team. Yeah, I get excited. I can't hold back. Sorry.
There were times with the NBA when you'd be on tilt, and I'd ask you about a player, and you wouldn't answer and be like, hey, Rodas, we're on the radio. And you'd be like, dude, I'm totally not paying attention to you right now.
Oh, yeah, I told you, man. So I hit a parlay last week in the Arizona Saints game. I did one last night, and I had Jalen Waddle, 50 yards or more, hit. Tyreek Hill, over 64.5 yards receiving. It hit. Obviously, I gave out the plus 6.5 receptions. That one I did separately because I didn't see the receptions in the same game parlay on DraftKings. George Pickens, over 29.5 receiving yards. It hit. Tua, over 199.5 yards, hit. This was a plus 305 parlay. The final leg, Dolphins over 16.5 points. They score 16, and I lose it. Unbelievable. Like, they didn't kick that field goal. And then late, I was hoping they got the ball. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. They couldn't score 17, and they moved the ball so well on that first drive. So that was frustrating. But I did well with NBA props over the weekend. And did I do it? No, I didn't do any yesterday. I can't do – I'm not going to do many NBA props on Sunday. Just too busy doing NFL stuff and doing the show. So I really don't. And the one day I'll take off is Sunday for NBA.
Yep. But you're doing a lot of Saturday stuff too. I saw that you and I kind of split in the starting 5 videos there on fantasyalarm.com. You did the one that's up for tonight's 8-game slate. I've got tomorrow's slate, and then we alternate days from there. But mentioned Trevon Diggs before. Why is that? Because tomorrow night, not you, Rome, but all of our Bettor fans have a chance. If you listen to Bettor Sports Live with Lisa Ann and Rick Kamla, 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, you have a chance to win a signed Diggs Cowboy jersey. That would be great. Or you can win it and give it right to Ronas. But wait, there's more. Because if you're saying, oh, I'm so busy, I'm taking care of the kids at night, I don't know if I can call in. Well, hey, in the morning there, play a little hooky from work and listen to Moose and Keith, 11 a.m. Eastern, for your chance to win an Eric Mold signed authentic Buffalo's Bills jersey. And you only have to be eligible to download. In order to be eligible, download the Bettor Sports Network app, register for free, be listening live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, and then 8 p.m. Eastern, the show with Rick and Lisa, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, but 8 p.m. Eastern, your giveaway courtesy of gettingthegame.com and Bettor Sports Network. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 or over. Winners within the last 90 days are not eligible. Christian McCaffrey, I'm sure you received a ton of questions. We got that report that there were plays that were going to be designed for him. People see the phrase red zone and they get all excited, their tails wag and everything, thinking, okay, well, Christian McCaffrey gets 9 touches, 2 in the red zone, 2 touchdowns, just like that. But how are you feeling about Christian McCaffrey? Because just on Sunday, a ton of CMC versus fill in the blanks there, man. And we're talking about running backs that aren't the obvious top dog running backs. We're talking about running backs that people need to start because of bye weeks versus Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I think, he was in the RB2 conversation. Look, if he scores a touchdown, you're happy. He didn't, so it wasn't as good. He played 22 snaps. Wilson played 26. So, but yeah, going forward, obviously, he's the guy, and forget about Wilson.
Yeah, that's just over. And then what Elijah Mitchell, I mean, at this point, these guys are literally stuck on our bench, Rome, unless an injury happens. And McCaffrey, we've seen him get hurt. But at this point, for those that have lost, you could have someone, Rome, that lost Breece Hall and are now going to be suffering because they have Jeff Wilson or they have Elijah Mitchell. And they're thinking, oh, maybe Mitchell comes back. Boom, McCaffrey's there, though. They could be really screwed right now, all of a sudden lacking that running back depth.
Yeah, I mean, as long as McCaffrey's healthy, he's going to get the bulk of the touches, and you can't start anyone else in that backfield.
No, you cannot. Let's talk about some of the others from the bad that happened here. I mean, Lamar Jackson, at this point, we're thinking, okay, gets Bateman back, things should be better, but this guy just cannot throw touchdowns, and he's not running them in either, Roan. It's okay with Lamar. If you're not going to throw it, then you can run it in. But then you see, and I'm talking from the Jackson's investors' perspective here. You got Gus Edwards coming back, looking really good. You've got other running backs who've been able to fill in. J.K. Dobbins on the shelf for another 5 to 6 weeks. But the problem is now with Lamar Jackson, if he's not going to be throwing them, he's got to be running them in, and he's not doing really either.
I mean, but if you have Lamar, you got to continue to start him. What are you going to do? Play Brady and Rodgers over him? I mean, The quarterback situation is a disaster. So, yeah, you're not getting what you paid for right now. But also 16 pass attempts to me is an outlier. Every other game he's been in the 29 to 32 range. So they need him to go back to that. They just didn't let him throw much yesterday. Edwards was another guy, too, that it was kind of difficult to figure out what was going to happen in this backfield. A lot of people spent money on Drake, and we kind of knew that there's a potential that might not work out, knowing that Edwards could be activated and Justice Hill was going to be back. So it was Edwards with 23 snaps, Hill 20, Drake 17. Obviously, Edwards got most of the touches here. But, I mean, you just have to hope that they let Lamar throw more. Helps that he got Bateman back. But, also Mark Andrews. I wonder if they did this because I know he played 56 snaps, but maybe because he was on the injury report a lot of the week. So maybe he wasn't 100%, and then they have this game on Thursday. So maybe they didn't want him to do as much. But, again, he was on the field a lot, but only 2 targets in this game. they're going to need to throw more against Tampa Bay this week.
What did you think of Dak's return to action?
I mean, I was a little concerned because you didn't know how he would look. I thought he was okay. Like his first pass, Noah Brown dropped. They didn't need him to do much. He was 19 to 25, 207 and a touchdown. Again, the defense was dominant. Detroit wasn't doing anything offensively, so they really didn't need to do much. But I think he was okay. Obviously, from a fantasy perspective, you're disappointed, but should be better going forward. They have the Bears this week, and then I think they're on bye in week 9, if I'm not mistaken. So, you got to hope that, the thumb is fine, and he just they open up the offense a little bit more. That's the thing, though. They don't need to. I know they probably will be a little bit more aggressive than they were with Cooper Rush, but they really don't need to with the way that defense is playing. I don't want to say that he's going to become a game manager. I think that was what Cooper Rush was. I think they'll let him be a little bit more aggressive. But at the same time, you don't want to turn the ball over and make mistakes. You don't need to with this defense right now. So, they get the Bears this week, then they'll have a couple weeks off, and then they got the Packers, Vikings, and then the big game against the Giants on Thanksgiving.
The Giants could have one loss by the time they reach that game. It's funny. It's amazing. I was listening to another show in the morning shortly after one of the Giants games a few weeks ago, and the producer's father called in and said that they're going to either win out or they're going to just suffer one more loss. And he gave little justifications. Wink Martindale, something you mentioned when they were playing Baltimore or whatever it was, that, that game, he mentioned a little tidbit for everyone. And it's just funny that the Giants have still been able to hang on like this. And I don't know, we talked about this with some of their matchups that we thought were going to lose. I mean, the Packers just don't look good. But with Baltimore, now if you're looking at it, you're seeing with Jackson when he's not been able to do that offense. But Baltimore, I did not expect them to beat the Giants. I did not expect them to lose against the Giants that time. I thought that was going to be, but the Giants still hanging tough right there. Unlike some of the other players who really didn't come through for us. Kareem Hunt, who I know that some of you asked about in the chat before, he didn't really come through. Swift ended up being out. Jamal Williams didn't get us that 10 in PPR. A.J. Dillon, you mentioned. Chase Edmonds. Remember Chase Edmonds?
Yeah, he looks really bad, man. And I did draft him in, I guess I got him in more best ball. I think in redraft, do I only have him in one league? I think I might only have him in one. I know I have him in best ball, though. I was targeting him in 8th, 9th round, but yeah, it's just not happening for him. And Mostert looks a lot better, so that one's not working out.
Yeah, no, Melvin Gordon, not a great game for him. And Mike Boone, though, the one saving grace for anyone that's sitting there with Gordon, well, this really sucks there. You got other guys like Murray there, but here's the problem with Mike Boone now dealing with an injured foot. So we'll have to see how that goes moving forward to there.
Well, he's already going on IR.
Not good for him. So
yeah, he's cuttable now.
Yep. It's just I spent so much money on him, man. I spent $28 on him weeks ago, $100 budget. You got to love that. I don't think I even utilized him once. It was a league that I had both Javonte and Melvin Gordon in. I spent $28 on the guy and didn't even use him. So that's just great right there. Romeo Doubs wasn't the only receiver to have a 0. Michael Gallup with a 0 as well. Talked about Drake London, Keenan Allen, who didn't play in the second half. Cortland Sutton didn't have a good game. Too many Devin Duvernay questions, Roan. I don't know if you've received a lot still, but I was just getting a lot of Devin Duvernay versus whoever. And it's just one of those things where the guy married to the Enzo Bateman back. It's just nothing about Devin Duvernay to me is appealing anymore.
Not when Bateman is active. I'm not playing him.
No, just not good. Definitely not good at all. They're the Steelers receivers having their problems, not named George Pickens at this point. And then we mentioned Mark Andrews had himself a weak game. Kyle Pitts, another one. Zach Ertz from Thursday. Gesicki, you're looking at just Tunyon, Hawkinson, what's his ceiling? Schultz, too, banged up throughout the year. This position just really stinks. Speaking of stinks, Roan, we have to do it, man. Do we have to, Roan? Do we have to preview Monday Night Football?
No.
Okay, that's fine. And you know what? Our producers might say something different, but maybe we'll do it anyway, Ron. I know we don't have to, but you could twist our arm. Let's talk a little bit about Monday Night Football. I saw a report come out that it should be good for Mac Jones for his return and everything like that. I saw Jeremy Fowler sent something out about an hour ago. So we'll talk a little bit about that, the Patriots offense, whatever the Bears are bringing to the table. It is the Playbook, powered by FantasyAlarm.com and sponsored by Jock Market here on Bettor Sports Network.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com. Bettor Sports Live with Rick Kamla. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific on Bettor Sports Network.
Andy Reid is the best current coach in the NFL. He's better than Belichick. Belichick has lost his way. He's better than Tomlin. He's better than Harbaugh. He's better than Shanahan. He's better than McCarthy down in Dallas. He's better than all of the gangster NFL coaches right now. Sean McDermott up in Buffalo, he's better than all these guys. Andy Reid is the greatest gangster that we have at head coach in the NFL right now. And I understand that you're saying, well, Belichick is the GOAT, Cam. How can that be true? Now you're bringing up old stuff. Bill Belichick can't draft anymore, okay? Talk to me. Nick Chubb, Sony Michel. Talk to me. DK Metcalf, Debo Samuel versus N'Keal Harry, okay? Talk to me. This dude has lost his way. Remember the year when he should have bottomed out and just tanked, but he couldn't, and he went and got Cam Newton, and they were a mediocre team, right? He's lost his way. And not that he can't coach up a good defense and that kind of thing, but overall, he's lost his way. Andy Reid's an absolute badass. They draft great. He's a great coach. Makes the right decisions, when to go for it, when to kick, when to punt. The guy's the man.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
I hate the stupid unsportsmanlike conduct. As long as you're not disrespectful to the opponent, you should be allowed to celebrate.
How I used to say it, and to bring up, because now basketball's starting to bring up personal.
Oh, dude, it's even worse than basketball, isn't it?
So Dikembe Mutombo, who used to get teed up in the 2000s, in the 90s, they didn't give a crap. 2000s, though, when they tightened up the rules, they used to tee him up more when he did the Dikembe finger wag. But they wouldn't tee him up if he did it to the crowd instead of looking at, like, Eton Thomas, like one time I remember, and doing it right to him, or when his back was turned, doing it right to him. If he did it to the crowd, they would never call it. And so that makes me wonder if these players, while, yeah, they want to talk a little smack, maybe they should flex towards the crowd than at the player who they're standing over.
I guess.
I know again, it's soft, man.
It is soft.
Because you know what?
Like we're gonna give 15 yards for that,
bro. They think that, you know, want to know why they're paranoid? They think that's gonna turn into a fight.
See, I disagree with that. That's not going to start a fight.
I agree with you. They don't agree with us.
It's one thing, okay, if you spit in someone's face or say something derogatory, like about their family or something,
right,
yeah, that can incite it. But if you're just like, yeah, I made that play, what? You know what I mean? Like, again, they know the rules. You got to know you're going to get flagged. You have to have discipline. But, like, I don't know. I have no problem with celebration as long as it's not disrespectful.
What's disrespectful? You know,
it's interpretation, and that's my problem. Watch, it's going to cost someone in a big playoff game, and that's when people are going to go crazy. There'll be a third down play. Someone makes a pass breakup, and they're in someone's face. They're going to throw a flag. It'll extend the drive. That team scores, wins the playoff game because of it. You need something drastic for it to really leave an imprint, and I hope that doesn't happen to mine.
Bettor Sports Network is betting, fantasy, collectibles. It's sports talk done better. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
3rd and 8 at the 9. They can get a first down. They don't need a touchdown. They hand off Montgomery, blasting up the middle. Montgomery spinning into the end zone for the touchdown. Touchdown Bears!
They definitely got a good defense. They're very disciplined, but they still got to play against us too. So, we got a great opportunity in front of us. If we go out there with our best foot forward, it'll be a good day.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com on Bettor Sports Network.
Bears Radio Network on the call. Little David Montgomery highlight soundbite for all of you. Why is that? Because David Montgomery is going to be involved in tonight's 8.5-point spread, favored by New England, going up against Chicago. But the big question is, and this goes back to a report from about a week ago, just how much of David Montgomery will be involved as opposed to Khalil Herbert. We've seen reports out that maybe the carry distribution evens out, and especially for this game. And we've got a two-pronged issue, Rome, because you've got that in Chicago, and you've got Damian Harris playing. And it's funny because I just looked on DraftKings Sportsbook. both Harris and Ramondre Stevenson's rushing yards prop is at 50.5 yards. Both of them, though, when it comes to the money, on the under for both players.
Really? Stevenson's number dropped that far? I thought it was
Yeah.
63.5.
I am seeing, rush yards. Yeah,
I see 64.5
it's
for
64.5. I read it wrong. I read it as Harris and Montgomery, right? They're both at 50.5. So good correction by you. Stevenson's is at 64.5 at minus 130 for the over. Harris is at 50.5, minus 125 for the under for that.
Yeah, Stevenson's 64.5 on BetMGM, the over at minus 110. So better there. Also minus 110 on FanDuel Sportsbook. So better numbers there. I would lean towards the over with Stevenson. I know that people are worried with Harris coming back, but Stevenson's been so good. And this is a game where I think they run the football a lot anyway against the Bears. We know that they're susceptible against the run. Patriots have been having success running the football. So, again, it's kind of a tough situation because we don't know if do they go back and give Harris his regular role, but there's no need to push Harris. You have a divisional game coming up on Sunday against the Jets. This shouldn't be that difficult against the Bears. Patriots have played really good football over the last few weeks, forcing turnovers, playing good defense, shut out Detroit, forced Cleveland into 4 turnovers. So the game script to me should be a lot of running for the Patriots tonight because the Bears do have a decent pass rush, but in run defense, 27th in DVOA. So I would think that's what they're going to do tonight. I'm not betting anything in this game. It's just one of those ugly games, but I would lean the over on Stevenson, who has gone over this number in 4 consecutive games. And that's with Harris playing in most of those. I think Harris only missed last week where Stevenson had 19 for 76 on the ground. He had 161 the week before. I think Harris left that game early where he had the 25, but even Green Bay, 14 for 66, Baltimore, 12 for 73. So he's averaging 5.1 yards per carry this season. So you really only need him to get 13 carries. If he gets 13 carries, he should go over this number based on what he's done most of the season. The only game that he really struggled on the ground was against Miami in week 1. So, yeah, I would lean to the over on Stevenson if I was betting his rushing yards prop.
Billy Hayes wants to know what we think of swapping Harris out for Thornton for tonight. Which, by the way, I know that you guys are asking about props for him. I do not see any props for Thornton on DK.
I like Thornton. Picked him up in a couple leagues this week. Yeah, I'm trying to decide too. I think I'm playing Mooney over him. I have that decision. Thornton looked really good last week. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing. They gave him 3 rushing attempts. And he caught 4 for 37 and a touchdown on 5 targets. I'm assuming Aguilar and Bourne aren't playing, right?
I have not seen anything final on that, but
yeah, we should get that soon.
That's why I'm thinking I'm not seeing Thornton props yet.
I would probably play Harris there. I mean, if they have him back and they think he's good enough to play, should get 10 to 12 carries and good chance to score a touchdown. And again, this is a bad rush defense, and I think that New England employs a run-heavy approach tonight.
The last reports that I am seeing is that Bourne is not expected to play, and I'm still seeing Aguilar listed as questionable as of right now. So
I don't see any. The only Thornton prop I see are to score a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't see anything regarding his receptions or receiving yards. Man, you mentioned
plus 310 on BetMGM, plus 270 on FanDuel Sportsbook, plus 245 on Caesars, plus 235 on DK. This is why you need to shop and have multiple books.
Yeah,
best number is on BetMGM.
Absolutely. Nick Durst here, our roving reporter who goes to MetLife to interview different fans for our Sunday programming, which is a lot of fun. Just another component on what makes BSN so special, saying that the Patriots should play Bailey Zappi instead of Mac Jones. Well, Nick, it's looking like you're not going to get your wish right there. So it's looking like from what we're seeing, it is going to be Mac Jones making his return. So anything else we can expect here? I mean, do you think that maybe Stevenson can catch a couple of passes? I mean, his receiving yards prop is very low. It's at 15.5, minus 130 for the over on that. Again, I'm not placing any bets myself. I'm just looking for anything that we could squeeze from this game.
Yeah, I mean, you would think over, but the game script is the concern because they should be playing from ahead. And he's had receiving yards 15, 14, 23, 28 the last 4. So, he's going to be the one that catches passes with, Harris there. They don't really throw to Harris. So it's a fair line. I don't think I would play it. I would lean the over, but again, if they jump out to a big lead, get a defensive touchdown, they might not be throwing to the backs as much. So I would, there's nothing I love here tonight.
Do you think the Patriots, even though you're not betting it, you think the Patriots can cover the 8.5 points? Still a pretty big spread, and we've seen
they're covered. Like, I know crazy things happen in the NFL. There's no logical reason you can explain to me to take Chicago tonight. It's Bill Belichick versus Fields in this offense. They've been rolling. It was one of my best bets of the week. I would take New England laying the points. I know. Again, are we going to be surprised if they win by 7? I guess not. I would be. I just don't see. Bears are 0-3 on the road. They're terrible. It's Bill Belichick against Fields. I just don't see how Chicago can stay competitive in this game tonight. I just don't.
Nick, you're asking about Justin Fields under on completions. That's another one where I'm not seeing that prop, at least right now, for at least the next month. I can really only see DraftKings Sportsbook. The other props, I don't get all the props, although that's
I see it. Passing completions, 13.5 is the number on every book I'm looking at. Minus 102 to the over on FanDuel, minus 130 on the under. And if you like the under, the best juice that I see is DraftKings under 13.5 completions, minus 115.
Let's look at Justin Fields' game log, because that's always fun to do. So completions for Justin Fields this year, Roan: 8, 7, 8, 11, 15 to the Vikings, 14 to the Commanders. And that is Justin Fields' season right there.
Yeah, again, it's such a low number. And if they do fall behind, could he complete a few short passes and then they pile up potentially? So that's the risk here. It's just such a ridiculous low number. I mean, his interceptions minus a half over is minus 175.
Wow.
So it's insane. His rushing yards is 41.5 on FanDuel, 42.5 on Caesars, BetMGM, and DK.
He's gone over that in 3 straight games.
I know, but wouldn't you think Belichick is taking that away?
Yep.
Because he's going to do that. So
he's also, by the way, he's also thrown picks in 4 of 6 games.
Yeah, which is why the heavily juiced on the over.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. This game's gonna stink, Road. This game, right? Don't you see this game and you're thinking it's gonna be like 10-0, 17-0?
No, I see it being. I think the Patriots could put up some points here, man. They've looked real good. They've just turned it around, and it's just a epic mismatch here. So I could see it being like 24-3, 24-10, something like that. But yeah, it doesn't. It's not an appealing matchup, and a lot of times we get surprised. But I would be stunned if this game is very appealing or watchable.
We joke a lot about the NFC, but look at the AFC East. That's a pretty threatening division right there. It turned out to be. In the Bills, we've talked about how great the Bills are. The Dolphins healthier now with Tua back. I mean, they've got a ton of weapons. The Patriots have been hanging in there. The Jets are 5-2. I mean, this division's been pretty tough thus far.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, the Jets have been a surprise. Even the Patriots have been a little bit of a surprise, playing much better lately. And we figured that in a league with such parity, and you got a coach like Belichick, it's just going to give you such an advantage over so many other teams. And they play the Jets 2 times in the next few weeks, including next week. So that's going to be pretty big here in the division. And it sucks with the injuries that the Jets have. But yeah, I mean, that division's good. I think a 2-team race in the North. I mean, the Browns, again, they needed Brissett to play a little bit better to keep things afloat until Watson comes back, and they're 2-5. The South sucks. And the Titans, because of Mike Vrabel, are there because it's not a good team, but division is bad, and he's got them at 4-2. It hasn't been picturesque. It's been ugly, but they're 4-2. And then in the West, you got the Chiefs, and we think the Chargers. Maybe the Raiders could get back into things now at 2-4. They've lost a lot of close games. They had a very crucial win against the Texans. They needed to win that game. And, looking at their upcoming schedule, at the Saints, at the Jags, home to the Colts, at the Broncos, they could get right back in this thing.
Yeah, they can. Still plenty of season to go around, too. Remember, it's the seasons that change. It's been elongated over the last couple of years there. So a little bit more time, even for all you fantasy players out there that are under 500. We know it's discouraging, but the worst thing you could do is give up on your teams because it takes away two things. One, the sanctity of the league if you're not setting your lineups and everyone's getting a free square win every week. It takes away the balance. But number two, don't do that. Just don't do it. You never give up. It's one thing with us. We're very different in a lot of ways, me and Ronas, but we're very similar. No matter what the record is, the competitive fire is always lit. It's an eternal light in you. And no matter how crappy of a season that you have, no matter how winless you are, you might be right now, still, you don't give up on your teams. And you never know. Maybe your team goes on a little bit of a run. Still plenty of time to come back in your fantasy football leagues. Let's talk a little NBA, though. We love basketball, both of us here. Adam Ronas was on the starting five video on fantasyalarm.com. 5 players you must get in DFS lineups. Some props as well. Let's go over some lines, ins and outs for tonight before we send you off to Rick Campbell at Bettor Sports Live, 7 p.m. Eastern. This is the Playbook powered by fantasyalarm.com and sponsored by Jock Market.
However you're invested in sports, from betting to fantasy, collectibles, and more, join our community on Bettor Sports Network. The Playbook with Fensty and Ronas, presented by fantasyalarm.com.
The only person, I've said this to you before, who I believe back then, of all those power hitters who truly was queen, Ken Griffey Jr.
I mean, I think so when he got hurt. We'll never know that for sure either.
No, dude.
We've seen guys who were not big take substances.
That's true.
To get busted. So it's not about that always.
I hear you. It's just, don't you think with the way his career kind of went, you would think that he didn't take anything?
I don't think he did, but we'll never know 100%.
I'm going to keep telling myself that he didn't. The one year player, I mean, he's my favorite baseball player of all time. In the 1990s, Ron, as a kid, as a 5-year-old kid who plays video games and collected cards, there was no one cooler than Ken Griffey Jr. I still wear my hat backwards because Ken Griffey Jr. did it, and he looked really cool doing that, wearing a backwards baseball cap. Like, he made everything the guy did looked cool. Even the home run in the movie Little Big League, it's acting, it's all, I guess, fake, but even he made that look cool. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., you're a little bit older than me, but in the 90s, besides Michael Jordan, was there a more loved athlete than Ken Griffey Jr.?
Yeah, no, I love Griffey. He's one of my favorite players ever, from defensively to hitting his swing. And yeah, I would have loved to see what he could have done if he had stayed healthy, the final numbers he finished with. So, no, I was a huge fan of Ken Griffey, and it's a shame, though, that all those injuries towards the end of his career just really limited the production he put up, but he still put up elite numbers. He was so fun to watch. So I'm a huge Ken Griffey guy.
And here's the other thing, too. So 1994, the season got shortened because of the strike.
And he finished with 40 homers in 111 games that year, man. And then he had 56 2 years in a row, 97 and 98, and then 48. He had a stretch 4 years in a row, 49, 56, 56, 48, 40. I mean, unbelievable. And then, yeah, once he hit like 31, he started to miss games, 111, 70, 53, 83. So think about that, all those years that he lost, and he still hit 630 home runs, man. Yeah. So if he was clean, he would have been the all-time home run champion. Again, we're all guessing here, but you would think, all right, well, once he got into age 31, 32, that's when the body started breaking out, which is typical, right, for someone who's not using anything, whereas we saw Barry Bonds just get better with age, and we did not see that with Griffey. So look at 2001, where he's 31, he played on, look at the home runs decline, 8, 13, 20, 35, 27, 30, 18, 15 to his age 38 season. Even age 39 in 170 games, he had 19 home runs. So he probably would have definitely been the all-time home run leader had he been able to stay healthy.
Bettor Sports Network, It's sports talk done better.
Length of Rudy Gay. Marketed. Doesn't glass it, stays with it. And just like that, Marketed with the last 5 to tie it at 22. This time, Dave goes the opposite direction. Sidelines into the paint and scores. Tumbles to the floor, shape-shifting in the air, and still got cracked in the head. Tatum, little shake and bake. High floater down the for Jason Tatum.
Boy, that runner is a tough shot.
The Playbook with Fensty and Ronis, presented by FantasyAlarm.com.
Heard the highlight there of Lowry Markkanen. What happens when you have a team that's in full rebuild mode? Well, someone's going to have to score, and Lowry Markkanen has been excellent thus far to start the year here as the Jazz tonight going up against the Rockets in what should be a nice fast-paced affair. Why? Because the Rockets, they play that way. But no for the Rockets. How about this one, Ronan? They've been kind of playing a little footsie with their center to start the season, but Alperen Sengun is going to be out tonight. He's apparently sick. That's a big time out tonight when we're trying to figure out this Rockets front court here. But, man, I know you've been on Lowry Markkanen. I've been on Lowry Markkanen. It's been an excellent start for him thus far.
Yeah, drafted him in one of my 2 leagues. Have Sengun in our league, so that sucks already. Losing a body tonight. But, yeah, I haven't played Markkanen's prop yet tonight. I'm kind of debating whether I should. Let's see. I mean, he's been crushing it. His points prop is 20.5. Thinking of his PRAs, it's 31.5, or even his rebounds and assists at 10.5. I mean, he's been getting double-digit boards. So I haven't played it yet. I have 4 bets in so far. And I didn't play that one yet. Oh, we do have the inactives for the Patriots. Kendrick Bourne's inactive. So I'm assuming then I don't see Aguilar on this list. So I'm assuming he's good to go.
All right. And Mac Jones as well, not on that list.
Yeah, he's active.
So he is good. So that is what we're looking at in this very exciting game that we're going to be watching tonight, a Monday Night Football game that we're going to be struggling through. By the way, in the NBA, no Scotty Barnes tonight. Was wondering about that. That's been something all day long that we were watching out for. So there, he's out. But some of the other props that you have, Rome, what's another one that you're liking tonight?
Tyrese Halliburton. Go back to my guy who's been making me money. I have been playing his points and assists prop, but I'm just doing the points tonight. I bet it. Oh, wait, it's 18.5 now? Damn it. I got it at 19.5 earlier.
Okay.
Suck. Yeah, hopefully it's still good. Yeah, I got it earlier over 19.5 minus 120 on DK. I'm seeing now it's 18.5 at minus 115. Why? Are they worried about Philly?
Maybe.
I mean, I know it's a big line, but Halliburton's been great this year, so I'm not worried about it. So hopefully it cashes. He's been taking a lot of shots, and again, Philly's been disappointed. I mean, they lost the other night to the Spurs, who were plus 600 on the money line, and it was a 13.5 point spread. But Halliburton has gone over this number in all 3 games: 26, 27, and 24 points. He's taken 18, 18, and 16 shots from the field. Even the assists have been 7, 12, and 10. The first 2 games, the last 2 games, I played the points and assists. Tonight I just did the points in case his teammates don't finish against Philly. Again, Philly 0-3 really needs to get a win here tonight. But yeah, Halliburton knows at times a lot of the offenses come late in the game.
Yeah.
Because the Spurs game, I was like, man, is he going to get there? And he had a big fourth quarter. They actually benched him in the first half. Some of the starters, he only played 12 minutes in that game, wound up with 27 and still went over the prop. So I still like him. Devin Vassell, we see he's got a 22% usage rate, and he had a bad game 1. But the last 2 games he's gone over. You can even look at his 2.5 3-pointers. I didn't play that, but I got over 16.5 points at minus 122 on FanDuel. I see it's a little bit more juiced on DraftKings at minus 130, but a good spot here against Minnesota, one of the highest totals on the slate. And I had him in the starting 5. Banchero against the Knicks, over 25.5 points, rebounds, minus 115 on DraftKings. I mean,
he's been good.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable so far. So I'm going to play his props. I wanted to the other night, and I didn't. I know I'm not really worried going up against the Knicks. Yeah, his points are 18.5 if you want to play just his points. But I did the points rebounds at 25.5 combined. And then I did John Morant over 29.5 points, minus 105 on DK. He's coming off a bad game, but they were on a back-to-back, and Dallas just handled them. Now he's going up against Brooklyn. The spread is 1, should be a close game. I do see it's 28.5 though on FanDuel now. It's 29.5 still on DraftKings, BetMGM, and Caesars. So those are the 4 that I have in. I'm kind of eyeing some other ones.
I got one you should eye.
What?
Going to go back to that Pacers-Sixers game. Benedict Mathurin. He's been scoring. He's been getting the shots. We should expect him to play 30 minutes. This is a guy who's going to be part of the new regime when this team continues to rebuild. And just someone, while he's playing as well as he's playing, I want to ride it out with him, even at how desperate the Sixers are. He's going to get a lot of run as well with the reserves too, Mathurin. And seeing that the point line is at 16.5, and we've seen him go over that a good amount. It's at minus 135, so it's a little juicy, but I still see him coming through on that. The books are going to adjust to this guy soon enough, but he's not going away. They don't have many options that could score.
Yeah, he's playing too well right now. I was considering that. I think Embiid as well. I know it's going to be a high number, but how does Embiid not have a monster game tonight against
29.5, Roan? I was eyeing that too.
Yeah, I'm okay taking that. He had 40 last game against the Spurs. Maybe the points and rebounds as well. It's 41.5. Probably feel better about the points, but he should put up a huge line tonight.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know about you, but I see a game like the Raptors and the Heat. I want nothing to do with that game, man. The Heat are the team that's very hard for me to read at this point, especially Bam Adebayo. That's one not off to, it's only been a couple of games. But the Raptors, the thing with them is, I guess because Scotty Barnes is out, maybe it does update. They really, you know how it is with them. They rely heavily on their starters. So maybe someone like an OG Anunoby at 15.5 for his line with no Scotty Barnes is somewhat appealing. But just these two teams look scary, man. And I'm going to be watching with the popcorn tonight, because when you have a team that really doesn't utilize their bench or anything like that, you got things like fatigue that I take early in the year, I take into account. And Miami can slow you down too.
Yeah, but they just played on Saturday, and Siakam had a huge game. That's the guy I'd be looking at. He had 23, 8, and 9. 8 rebounds, 9 assists. His rebounds assist total is 14.5. He had 17 against Miami and 23 against Brooklyn. I mean, if you just want to say, you know what, let me take his assists with no Barnes. I mean, that's also.
I'm fine with that. You could either do that or the Anunoby points. I'm okay. You know what though? He might see a lot of Jimmy Butler.
His assist total is 4.5, but damn, it's juice. So you might as well do 5.5 at plus 106 on FanDuel. 4.5 is minus 190 on DK and minus 160 in BetMGM for the over. But he just had 8-9 against Miami the other night, and that was in Miami. And now they're in Miami again. Oh, damn! So they might have partied.
Repeats, bro.
Maybe I'm worried now. They've been in Miami since Saturday.
Ugh. Don't touch the game. Don't touch.
Yeah.
Although you know what, Ron? You'll probably appreciate this. You ever hung out in Canada before?
No.
Okay. Well, from what I hear, these strip clubs and party scene in certain spots in Canada much better than the U.S. So maybe the Raptors are used to that kind of party lifestyle that they have. Very involved strip clubs up there in Canada.
Yeah, but then you are on the road, go somewhere different, and you wild out. So,
different area codes. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. I just figured. Yeah, but Siakam would be the guy I look at. They tend to play their starters big minutes. He's been doing a little of everything. What is his PRA though? But yeah, I think his rebounds and assists is not a bad number.
Well, the points are at 23.5 right now.
Oh, his PRA is at 37.5. That's not bad either, man.
He fills up the stat sheet.
Yeah.
By the way, Zach LaVine, he's not going to be on a minutes restriction. His point prop's at 20.5, which is interesting. It's just
I'm not messing with him.
Yeah, it's the Celtics. It's just, but no minutes restriction for him. I'm wondering, by the way, because everybody's crushing me in Discord. I've answered so many because Fantasy Alarm Discord, by the way, always in there talking season-long fantasy basketball with all of you. So many questions about Ao Dosamu, and that the reports are apparently out that Zach LaVine is going to be taken with him fully active, more control of the offense. Well, you know what? Assists are hard to find, whether it's the waiver wire, whether it's in draft. So before you go dropping Dosamu because of a couple of reports, let's see him lose out on a lot of usage first. Let's see him not bring up the ball as much, and then we can think about dropping him there. I know that there are other options that they rotate around as well, but that's something that's been on my mind. The Timberwolves and the Spurs. Look at this, man. Here's the thing with the Timberwolves. Karl Anthony Towns kind of down from the usual 1-2 spot he is in my rankings from last season every week. This guy is just not going to be providing consistent rebounding, Roan. He's going to be hanging at that arc and that elbow way too much when you got a Rudy Gobert clogging up the middle.
Yeah, but he's still going to get you assists. He's going to get threes. And I think it just, he was coming off the sickness too in the preseason. So also acclimated and play with Gobert. So I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't know about the rebounds though. I think
the rebounds are going to be down.
They're screwed. So don't go and not block shots. I mean, he'll match up against smaller fours, and then he'll get you some blocks.
I feel like I got to play my guy Jalen Green.
You love him so much. Do you like watching him?
Oh yeah, I like when he makes me money.
Hey, they're going to have to rely on their backcourt a little bit more. Actually, in our league, I just picked up Eric Gordon. Actually, so can you believe Eric Gordon is still a thing? They're going with a 3-guard offense. That's what Houston decides to do.
Let me see something here. Do I play his over 3.5 threes?
Who? Jalen Green?
Yeah, he had 4 in each of the last 2 games, and we're getting that at plus 140.
That's so many threes, Rome. 4 threes.
Okay, I was doing it last year.
I know you were.
Okay, last year down the stretch, okay? 4, 5, 4. Oh, no, my bad. That's the preseason. But this year, 4 of 7 against Milwaukee, who allows a lot of threes. 4 or 5 against Memphis. He's not taking as many, though. Last year, he took a ton. That's the only concern. But last year down the stretch, 4 of 11, 0 of 3, 4 of 10, 4 of 8, 6 of 14, 6 of 14, 6 of 15, 6 of 11, 5 of 10. Like, that's the one thing, though. He was taking 10 to 14 threes. He's not right now. But this should be, they're not good defensively. Utah's coming off back-to-back overtime games. One was last night, and then the previous game, 234.5 total. Utah favored by 2. Man, I feel like, what is it? Is points? Oh, man, I feel like I should take that. Plus money, man? Plus 140?
Oh, I'm hearing a parlay in Rodis's future.
Not parlay, but I think, plus 140 for that, man. You're right. It is a lot of
something I would look at from this Nuggets-Blazers game that I'm seeing here. One of the things that you can look at, Damian Lillard here in his points profit. That's 26.5. That's going to be a very easy matchup for him tonight. That's how I'm feeling when it comes to this game. Ooh, Jokic 25.5. Please don't tease me. I'm just going to hang on that. He's Adam Ronis. I'm Justin Fenster. We thank our producers, AB, the resource Adam Bernard, and the People's Board Op, Jared Moore, Rick Kamla, coming up next here on BSN for Better Sports Live. Good luck. Let's win.